In this video, I'm sharing my product launch strategy responsible for over 175 million in revenue. And that might sound kind of crazy, but it's true. I'm Mark, and over the last 10 years, my company Launchboom has helped over 1,000 entrepreneurs launch their products. And I'll be sharing the 5-step strategy we developed so that you can copy it and apply it to your own launch. By the way, I'll also be giving away a free copy of my best-selling book, Crowdfunded. This book goes into way more depth, so make sure you grab your free audiobook copy at the end of this video. For now, let's dive in. Before we get into those 5 things I was just talking about, we need to talk about choosing the right launch strategy. Now, the way I like to think about this is that there's basically 2 ways that you could launch your product. On one end, you have the pre-order product launch. And on the other end, you have the inventory product launch. So let's actually start with the second one, the inventory product launch, because this is more typical to what I would call a traditional product launch. This is where, let's say you go and you do all your product development, you then actually manufacture the product, you put in your order, you get tons of inventory, you then do all your marketing, and you basically pray that people are going to show up and buy your product. This is really risky. Now, on the other end, you have the pre-order product launch. Now you do the same thing at the beginning of doing all your product development, you get a prototype, but now you do all your marketing around that prototype, and you actually have people pre-order your product before you go manufacture it and get all your inventory. Now, this is our preferred way of doing product launches. Why? Because it is way less risky. It's way less risky, for all the reasons I just talked about. And the way that we actually do these pre-order product launches is that we leverage crowdfunding platforms. So platforms like Kickstarter, Indiegogo are the platforms that we use. As an example, check out ShefStation. This is one of the products that we help launch. Launched on Kickstarter, did $650,000 in pre-order revenue. So it's real revenue, real cash flow that they're getting. Or check out Chillshark, $439,000 in pre-order revenue, all in 30 days as well. So this is a lot of revenue really quickly. Or check out Lomi. This one did $7.2 million in pre-order revenue. And this is just the beginning for these brands. They use this as the way for them to launch, to get the real revenue at the beginning, get validation. Then they go manufacture their product, and then they transition into e-commerce. So check out Lomi. Again, now they're a huge brand. They're doing tens of millions of dollars a year in revenue. And it all started from a pre-order product launch. So now that we know what the right launch strategy is, let's actually get into those 5 steps that I was talking about earlier. So if we scroll down here, we're going to see the 5-step Launchboom marketing strategy. And this is what the video is primarily going to be focusing on, all right? And so those 5 steps are, starting from the left, is the Superfan positioning, step 1. This is where we're going to basically figure out who loves your product, how to actually communicate the value of your product to them. Step 2 is going to be your reservation funnel. So this is a way for you to actually get people to give you deposits. So actually make a monetary commitment at the beginning in the pre-launch before you've launched to figure out who are your super fans, who are the people that really, really want to buy your product and they've made that commitment. Next is traffic generation. So getting people to that reservation funnel. We'll talk mainly about meta ad strategies in order to do this in a really scalable way. 4th is going to be campaign creation. So getting everything that you need to be able to launch on these crowdfunding platforms. And then 5th and finally is launching. So everything that you've done now up until this point, the pre-launch has prepared you for this point. And this is where you're going to be able to actually start to pre-sell your product using Kickstarter and Indiegogo. So let's dive into step 1. All right, Superfan positioning. Let's scroll down. Here it is. All right, so Superfan positioning, and we have this alien looking device here. What is that thing? So this is one of our clients we helped launch. It's called Sphinx. It's a automatic cat feeder. It uses wet cat food and actually pops out of this little tray right here. And the reason why I have them up here is because I'm going to use them as an example of going through this Superfan positioning framework. All right, this is an easy way of thinking about who are the people that would love your product. So right here. Well, let's state this sentence first. So Superfan positioning is all about showcasing the value of your product to the person who'd love it. And keywords being value of your product and person who'd love it. We need to figure those things out. All right, so using Sphinx as an example, let's go over here to the left. We need to figure out the targeting the right audience. Now, you've probably heard of persona development, where you think of an actual person, like a fictional character, essentially, that would be the ideal customer for your product. We like to think about this as superfan development. thinking of who would absolutely love to have your product, tell all their friends about it. So just like persona development, we want to give them a name, age, and then ask some questions and answer some questions about them. And the most important questions to ask are what do they do for fun? Who do they buy from? Who do they follow online? What do they watch and listen to? And what frustrates them most about current solutions? So I filled this in for the Superfan of Sphinx, this automatic cat feeder, right? So they're Superfan. For fun, they go to coffee shops, they play board games, they play video games. Who do they buy from? They buy from brands like Apple, Dyson, Tuft & Paw. Who do they follow online? MKBHD, Engadget, ThinkGeek. What do they watch and listen to? Sci-fi, indie EDM, and Brandon Sanderson. What frustrates them the most about current solutions? So they've tried other automatic cat feeders, but none of them work well with wet cat food, and they're trying to give their cat this like premium experience because they love their kitty, right? And so you're probably, you should be getting kind of an idea of who the Superfan is. They're kind of, a tech nerd, right? But they're maybe a little bit more affluent because they buy from some of these nicer brands and they follow these tech influencers, and they have these frustrations with the current product. Now, with that in mind, let's now go over to how do we explain to the Superfan why they will love your product, in this case, Sphinx. So really simple here. First, start out with asking the question, what's the product in plain English? Don't overthink this part. I feel like where people get stuck, especially at the beginning when it comes to positioning, is that they try to wordsmith and copyright, the perfect copy right off the bat. Just in plain English, like you were going to be describing it to a friend, what is your product? So I did this for Sphinx. I said, okay, if I was telling a friend this, it's an automatic wet food feeder for cats. It uses facial recognition to feed cats at the right time. That was like what I came up with. All right. So not the most perfect thing, but hey, it's a good start, right? That's all you really want here. Next are what are the top 3 ways the product is way better than the competition. So if you don't have 3 things that are way better than everything else that's out there, you probably should go back to the drawing board and figure that out, because you're trying to create something that is going to be marketable, right? And to be marketable, you have to have something that grabs someone's attention. They're like, whoa, that's actually different from everything else. So for them, those 3 things work. It keeps wet cat food fresh for 2 weeks. Totally different from other products. It doesn't overfeed the cats. There are other automatic cat feeders, but because it uses this facial recognition technology, it's kind of crazy to think about. This thing is reading the cat's faces. Because it uses that, it's able to actually learn the cat's feeding schedule and only open at the right times. And then it also supports multi-cat households. That was the other problem with some of these other products, that they can have multiple cats because these are cat lovers, right? And this actually learns who the cats are and will actually portion each meal depending on what the cat or who the cat is, which is really cool. All right, so this isn't that complex, right? And I'll be honest, if you're gonna do a really, really deep dive into positioning, you probably will go a little bit deeper than this, but this is a really good starting point. And I want you to think about what's the foundational elements that you need when it comes to doing your Superfan positioning. Now, what I like to do from here is, after we've brainstormed all this, is just focus on writing out your headline and subheadline. So I think about like what's going to be on your landing page, on your website, and what are those headlines, or what is that headline and what is that subheadline? So based off of everything that we just wrote down, this was the headline and subheadline for Sphinx. It is the smart wet feeder for cats. Simple, it's clear, it's not trying to be too clever, but people understand what that is, and also it grabs their attention. Now, the subheadline acts as a way to add a little bit more color and complement the headline in a way that gives you a bit more information about the product. So Sphinx keeps wet food fresh, holds 2 weeks of food, portions every meal, and gently warms the food before delivering. Yum, for the cat. And so with this, now that we have this, we have the foundational elements that we can now start to build all the marketing on top of. So with that, we're ready to move on to step 2. So let's keep scrolling down here. We got step 2, the reservation funnel, and we got all these graphics. So we've got to zoom out a little bit to look at this funnel. So you've probably heard of a funnel before, a series of web pages that basically takes visitors down a certain path, usually to either collect emails or to sell a product. Well, this is kind of a combination of getting emails and selling a product in one. And why is it called a reservation funnel? Well, I'll explain why. So let's walk through each one of these steps. I'll also be pulling up how we actually build these. So you get an idea of, some of the tech that's involved to do this. And don't worry, it's nothing too complex, right? So step one in a reservation funnel is the landing page. Theirs is a little bit longer. Again, I'll show you their whole landing page in a moment. But the main point of the landing page is to collect an email. So that's what you're getting here, collecting an email of someone that's interested in the product. Then from there, you go to step two. This is where the reservation funnel really becomes a reservation funnel. So we've already got their email. Now we're saying, hey, lock in our best available discount by reserving today. So putting down $1 now locks in a discount of $150. So this is where we say, hey, put down a monetary commitment of only one buck. That's it. And you're going to be able to get $150 off when we actually launch. So I'm going to pause here for a second. The reason why we do this and the reason why this is so powerful is because we found that those that put down $1 are usually 20 to 30 times more likely to buy than someone that just gives you their email address. I mean, it makes sense. Like they actually have to think about it for a second. They have to pull out their credit card after they've just learned about your product. So they must be really, really interested, which is a really good sign that they are your super fan. And that's going to be really useful when we get to step 3 in a moment, of when we're doing traffic generation and targeting, to be able to really understand what's working by looking at who is actually putting down that $1 deposit. All right, so let's say that someone clicks reserve Sphinx now. They are then taken to a checkout. Really simple, keep it simple. You get all their credit card information, and then you're taken to a thank you page. So really simple from a funnel perspective. There's only 4 steps in this funnel. But it also, we'll see here, what are these other lines? That you also want to pair this with email marketing, more specifically doing automated email marketing as they hit certain steps. So you will see that if someone goes from the first step to the second step, meaning they gave you their email address, we want to then trigger an email that is basically going to sell the deposit. So this is just a reminder to people that, hey, if they put down $1, they're going to get $150 off. There's also a couple more emails that I would put in this sequence, but just for simplicity's sake, just know that you want to have an automated email flow that goes out when someone goes to this step. But you also want to have one over here that when someone becomes a VIP, is what we call it, when they put down the $1, that they also get a welcome message from the founder and to have some other type of call to action. In this case, we try to send them to the Kickstarter page or the Indiegogo page for them to follow there as well, because that's just another action that they can take that's really, really useful. So now that you have an idea of what the reservation funnel looks like, also why it's useful, remember, it's because if they put down that $1, they're 20 to 30 times more likely to buy. Let's look at actually, what it takes to build one. So at LaunchBoom, we have our own software called LaunchKit, which makes it really easy for people to build reservation funnels. But you can honestly use other software as well. I mean, you can use Shopify, you can use ClickFunnels, Lead Pages. There's tons of different examples. You can use Wix. Anything that allows you to build the website and the each step in the flow really easily and connect to some type of email marketing software, which we use MailChimp, which is again really simple, will work. But let's take a look at this. So now you can actually see the landing page with a little bit more, oomph, so to speak, right? You can see that we have this auto playing video. As you scroll down, it's honestly pretty simple, right? You want to have the branding elements, but really you want to keep the messaging simple and really focused on the benefits that this product is going to give them. So first one, remember the biggest differentiator, wet cat food on your cat schedule, right? So headline and then a little bit of supporting text. Now we go down, we have a little bit more information, and now we actually dive a little bit deeper into individual features, another call to action. And again, I'm not going to go through each section, but you can get an idea of what these pages look like. They don't have to be that complex. That's kind of the big thing that I want to point out here. But you do want to make sure that you're focusing on single benefits or features and then dedicating sections to them and adding a little bit more information about them, but not too much. I always see people kind of overdo these pages with copy, but you can keep them pretty simple at this point. Just make sure that it's mobile optimized as well, because that's probably where most of your traffic is going to be coming from. But with that, let's move on. So you can see now you have the reservation page, checkout, and reserve. So I've already showed you this, but this gives you an idea of what like the landing page would look like, and just knowing that you should probably be using some type of a landing page builder. So if you want to check out LaunchKit, we'll have a link to that in the description as well, so you can check that out. But now that you know how to build the reservation funnel, let's now talk about step 3. So step 3 is all about traffic generation. Let's zoom in here a little bit. And when I say traffic generation, this could be any way that you're sending traffic to that reservation funnel, but really the main way, our preferred way, is to use meta ads. So that's Facebook, Instagram. I always get the question of, what about all these other ad, platforms, TikTok, Google, YouTube, Reddit, all these different things, X, right? We still find that meta ads perform the best when it comes to doing both lead generation and actually getting sales for new products, new e-commerce products. And so that is why we focus on this. Yes, you do have to have an ad budget, obviously, in order to do this, but we, again, haven't found a way that does a better job than this of being able to actually scale up and spend the money the most effectively, so getting you the highest ROI. Now, if we look at basically what makes a good ad, well, it's kind of simple. You have 3 things. You have good imagery. So this could be the actual image or video that's being shown in the ad. You have good copy, and you have good targeting. And it actually goes in this order in terms of order of importance. So let's look at one of the best performing ads for Sphinx. Okay, so the copy, you can see here, but actually, sorry, I'm going to focus on imagery first because that's the most important. So of course, they got a cat, they have the product, you can see it actually feeding. But what I want to point out here is that when it comes to the images, oftentimes it isn't these super well produced images that end up working really, really well. Even just photos of the product on a white or colored background are usually some of the top performing ads, especially at this stage. And it just has to be something that is drawing their attention, but makes it really basically having the hero of the image be the product itself. In this case, throwing in the cat was definitely a good call because this is for cats. And now when you have the tech, this alien looking device next to this cat, it definitely stopped the scroll. Okay. Now, if we look at the copy, the primary text is what you call this up here. This is one of the ad primary text formats or templates that we find to work really, really well, today, this year, right? It's actually been working for a long time, but we still use it all the time, which is essentially having some type of bold claim. So the bold claim here is that Sphinx is the world's smartest wet feeder for cats, and then having a bolded list of features and benefits. So it's pretty simple, right? You can copy this template and use it for your own ad. Then down here, this is what you call the headline, okay? So headline is usually a, either single sentence, in this case, I guess technically 4 sentences, but quick, punchy, something, again, to grab their attention. And we really like to make bold statements. So a revolution in cat ownership. No smell, no cleanup, meals your cats love, with the cat emojis. And, this got tons of people liking it, sharing it, commenting on it. So clearly it worked, and also I'll show you how many emails and reservations they got from this. But this was the ad that got the most spend. That's why I want to show you this. Now, when it comes to targeting, I want to kind of demystify some stuff, because targeting in Meta has become in some ways, I would say, more of a black box, meaning that Meta kind of has taken away a lot of targeting options, which for some advertisers, they don't like that. But on the other hand, it's actually a good thing for especially new advertisers, because you have less ways that you might be able to screw up. And you're essentially in this trust Meta era to a certain extent. Now, with that said, you still want to give Meta some suggestions when it comes to who they should target. So besides things like age, the most important things to focus on, you'll see there's this option to do what's called detailed targeting. And the way that Meta ads work and the targeting works is that it's based off of interests, because like it or not, Meta knows a lot about what people are interested in. And so remember all those things that we did up top. So I zoom out for a second on the Superfan. Like, why was I asking all these questions about what does the Superfan do for fun, or who do they buy from, who do they follow online? Well, that becomes really useful when you're actually doing the targeting and you're coming up with different interests to target. So you can see that, they threw in interests like Litterbox, ThinkGeek, Persian Cat, Tech Radar. Like, it's this mixture of cat interests and tech interests, and this is all lumped into one audience. And Meta is going to be able to use these suggestions and then also expand out from there. So it's kind of like it's giving them some direction, but then Meta is also going to use all their whatever AI, stuff that's going on in the background, all their models to be able to find your audience based off of this. But this was the best performing ad audience as well. So just you put these things together, good imagery, good copy, good targeting, and then you end up getting a good ad. And how well did they actually perform? Well, from the advertising in this pre-launch stage, they were able to get 32,000 emails and 3,900 $1 reservations, which is wild, right? These people are putting their credit card down in the pre-launch for a totally new product that doesn't really exist yet, saying that, hey, I want to get that $150 discount. And so using this, then they are essentially ready to get to the launch. But actually, there's one more step before we get to the launch. So we have to talk about that. Let's move on to step 4. So in step 4, it's all about creating the campaign. So remember, you're going to be launching on Kickstarter or Indiegogo as the platforms. There are really 2 main assets that you need to be able to create in order to be ready to launch. One is going to be your campaign video, which will go at the top of the page. I'll show you in a second. And then the second is going to be the actual campaign page. Think of it as like a big, long landing page. So an extended landing page that you created for your reservation funnel, right? So let's actually just pop over and look at the campaign for Sphinx. So here was their video. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but it'll give you an idea of how these videos look and work.
I'm not picky. My palate is refined. Too dry. Too cold. Too old. Ugh. What's this? The
Amazing.
Sphinx cat
Amazing.
figure.
So this works super well because it has a great hook. I mean, immediately you see the cat. It talks about the problem that people are facing, and is doing it from the perspective of the cat, which is clever. And then it has the product come in as a solution really quickly in the video. So I think it was around 12 seconds into the video. I mean, I would say that is probably the longest that you want to wait. Usually we'll say like within the first, let's say 5 to 10 seconds, you're getting into the actual product in these videos. But in this case, it still worked really, really well because, it was clever in terms of what they were doing. It was kind of funny too, right? And so you want to think about these videos as, they don't have to be these super, super long, in-depth videos where you're telling your story and treating it like a micro documentary. Think about it more as an ad. It's just another ad. And the way that I like to think about ads is that you're trying to sell people, you're trying to get into the problem solution, going over all the benefits of the product, and then having a call to action to buy the product within something that's usually condensed into less than 2 minutes. I would say somewhere between 60 to 90 seconds is usually the sweet spot for these videos. And it can also keep your costs down a little bit too, because you don't have to get as many shots. Now, when it comes to the actual campaign page, we just kind of go down the page. I'll zoom out here a little bit so we get more on the screen. Like I said, it's basically just a really long landing page. So what's really cool about doing everything that we did before with the reservation funnel and driving traffic to the reservation funnel is that you're also learning what messaging is actually working out there. And you can learn what things are working on your landing page and then adapt them to the actual campaign page. So if I'm not mistaken, the same headline, that was used on the landing page was used here. I think the subheadline was changed a little bit, but it was basically the same thing as well. And that's because it was heavily tested in the pre-launch beforehand in the landing page or on the landing page in the reservation funnel. And that was transferred over here. So it's like, you think all the work that you do up front is going to make this part a lot easier. My recommendation on this stuff is just to, Kickstarter is public or Indiegogo is public as well. Just go look at really top performing campaigns, especially ones that are in your niche, and then essentially model them, Don't copy them directly, but say, okay, what are they doing here? How can I model this for my product? And that will allow you to get basically 80, 90% of the way there. And you're just filling in them with your copy and your imagery. All right. So with that, your campaign is created. And now the only thing left to do is to launch. Let's scroll on down then to step 5, which is launch time. Now I'll say that this part is kind of easy because you have done all the hard work in the pre-launch. You've positioned your product, you built your reservation funnel, you've driven traffic to it, you've built up your email list, you've gotten your campaign page all ready to go in your campaign video. Now it's essentially pushing the launch button and then sending an email. This is really what it comes down to. It's as simple as this. So this was the actual email that was sent out for Sphinx when they went live on Kickstarter. So this is specifically talking to the people that got the $1 deposit. So you will want to have another email for people that didn't put down the deposit because they don't get as good of a deal. But really, you're just sending it out to that list, letting them click on that button, and then they're going to be taken to the Kickstarter page. And that's where they can then pre-order the product. And so this was really, really successful. It was able to do $260,000 all in one day, which is kind of wild. I mean, we can even just pull this up. If we go in here and let's actually just even pull up the dashboard, see the same chart that I just showed you. If we go in here, you can see they did that much in one day. Excuse me, right there, 260, which is a lot of money, right? And that, again, that's because they had all those emails, those reservations. And then from there, you essentially can build on that momentum. So there's a couple things that where Kickstarter really benefits people that are doing these pre-order product launches. One is that you can think of Kickstarter as a marketplace in and of itself. There are tons of people that are these early adopter innovator types that are looking for new products to pre-order. And so you can see that 20% of all the funds raised actually came from Kickstarter itself. So over $100,000 that they essentially didn't have to pay for except for the 5% fee that Kickstarter takes. But that's well worth it because they got that much lift because of everything else they did, right? The other thing is that, because Kickstarter has this built-in social proof, you go to a campaign that has $200,000 already in pre-sales. When you send more traffic to the page, which you should do mainly through advertising, you keep that advertising going. Now people are going to be much more likely to actually want to back the project or pre-order the product because they see all these other people have done it as well. And that's how they were able to continue the momentum going to ultimately where they ended up raising $533,000. We made it to the end. Congrats. I hope this wasn't too much of drinking from the fire hose, so to speak, and you're able to really feel inspired, but also have now a blueprint to apply to your own product launch. Remember that this whole idea of doing a pre-order product launch is really innovative, and it really reduces the risk a lot for entrepreneurs. And that's why I love it so much. That's why we've been applying this to so many launches and driven over $175 million in revenue for our clients. So I hope you take it and apply it to your launch. Also know that you can get the free audiobook copy of my best-selling book, Crowdfunded. Just click the link below and tell us where to send it. You'll also get the digital copy along with that too. And if you got any value from this video, hit that like button. It will really help us out, and subscribe for more content like this. All right, we'll see you in the next video.